Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another JPNN here on this Wednesday edition of the news. Activision Blizzard is acting up. They've got a bunch of stuff going on. And just some general news announcements. We've got some things to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into the news. We can start with Activision Blizzard appointing Kristen Hines, as its new Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. Previously, Hines served as the Global Lead for Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity practice at a company called Accenture, where she worked directly with the organizations to create and grow their own DEI practices. Just so you're aware, Accenture, from a quick Google search, is an Ireland-based multinational professional services company that specializes in information technology services and consulting. They're a Fortune 500 company with a reported revenue of $50 billion in 2021. They put out a couple quotes. GameDaily.biz covered this. She says, "I'm excited to join a company that is prioritizing its commitment to DEI and making progress on the ambitious goals it has set for itself. In an industry with historical underrepresentation, I'm looking forward to leading the company's efforts to further build a workplace that values transparency, equity, and inclusivity. The company has amazing potential to connect communities around the world and showcase heroes from all backgrounds," Hines continued. "I'm looking forward to playing a part in expanding the landscape of talent who brings these compelling experiences to a broad base of players." Activision described Hines' role as a role where she will strengthen work underway with the company's leadership team and its employee resource groups to implement programs and policies that foster a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace environment. Cut to an allegation out of California, coming from the Activision Blizzard discrimination suit right now, where the California Governor Gavin Newsom has been interfering and supporting Activision with said interference by abruptly firing this lawyer's boss. The lawyer in question is resigning in protest as well. Jeanette Whipper, who was the chief counsel on the Activision lawsuit, was fired last month, and Melanie Proctor, who is the assistant chief counsel, resigned in protest last night. She's accusing Newsom's office of, quote, mimicking the interest of Activision's counsel. The fate of the lawsuit is now unclear. In an email Melanie Proctor reportedly sent to staff last night, she says, quote, "The office of the governor repeatedly demanded advance notice of litigation strategy and of the next steps in the litigation. As we continued to win in state court, the interference increased, mimicking the interest of Activision's counsel." Yeah, not a good look whatsoever for both Activision Blizzard and California Governor Gavin Newsom. Not the first time that Newsom's been in some hot water for all this shit that he tends to do. But yeah, I think Newsom actually, I'm not just going to put out, I think Newsom's done some other stuff that you can go and do a quick Google search to realize that he probably does this type of thing a lot. So it's a classic case, as chat's pointing out, of money protecting money. Bloomberg.com, I believe, broke the news, but a bunch of people are covering it. GameIndustry.biz also has article coverage on this. It's an ongoing story. We will probably have some updates over the next week or two regarding all of this. And hopefully the discrimination suit continues on, but it seems like they're kind of up against a lot more than just the suit itself in regards to what's going on over there at Activision Blizzard and in California. Big yikes, without a doubt. Anyways, Nintendo has bought some land adjacent to their own headquarters for around $40 million. They put out a statement over on their nintendo.co.jp website. It says Nintendo believes acquiring and utilizing this land will carry an important role on reinforcing its R&D. No fancy, headline. Just they bought $40 million worth of land. They're gonna build some R&D stuff. We'll see what happens with that. Vicarious Visions, which is a very well-known and renowned developer, dating back to around the early 90s. I think they were founded in 1991. Known for titles like Crash Bandicoot, Insane Trilogy, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, has now officially merged with Blizzard. The team is now, quote, fully dedicated to Blizzard games. They said so via a tweet. Said that their development team will stay in Albany, New York, and they invite you to follow us over at Blizzard Entertainment. So, yeah. Sony and Nintendo, by the way, have both agreed to update their guidelines pertaining to their respective online subscription services following an investigation into auto-renewal practices by the Competition and Markets Authority. We reported on this regarding Xbox doing this very same thing about a month or so ago. Nintendo and Sony are catching up. Sony has agreed to implement new measures for PS Plus subscribers, which includes contacting long-term customers that haven't used the service for a while to remind them how to cancel subscriptions. If users don't cancel the service but aren't actively using it, Sony will stop taking payments altogether. Nintendo has also altered its business practices. Its Nintendo Switch Online service will no longer be sold with automatic renewal set up as the default option. If users wish to turn it on, they will need to do so after signing up. Two platform holders, of course, like I just mentioned, are following Microsoft's agreement to change how it presents information to Game Pass subscribers. All very good stuff, although I can already see people complaining about how this stuff defaulted to the not automatic renewal and somehow messed up their service. Hopefully this becomes the practice with so many freaking different services out there. Uplay Plus or Ubisoft Connect or Plus, whatever their service is called, could probably use this. EA Plus, I don't know what their thing is called. There's a lot that could just happen, but they need to all adopt this type of program. That's a little bit of industry news. This year's QuakeCon will once again be a digital-only event. It'll be happening August 18th through the 20th later this year. There was a tweet of the full announcement. It said, like you, we're disappointed to not return to Dallas this year. An event of this size requires months of planning. In this case, we had to make decisions when there's still too much uncertainty to commit to successfully executing an in-person QuakeCon. QuakeCon team is already working hard to put together exciting new streaming programming, online meetups, giveaways, charity opportunities, the virtual BYOC, and more. We will announce more details in June. Can't wait to see you online this August and in person next year. The message ends. According to executive producer over at Riot, Greg Street, aka Ghostcrawler, who's working on their MMORPG set in the League of Legends world of Runeterra, says development is going, quote, super well. But he also says that there's no guarantee the project will ever see the light of day. His full tweet was, there is no guarantee this game will ship. We are optimistic, but you just never know until it does. However, assuming it does, this will be the fourth major franchise I have worked on, which include AoE, World of Warcraft, and League of Legends, and likely the last. And I'm very okay with that. It'll be a good final act. I started to say things like magnum opus, but that sounds like it's my vision, and it very much comes from the team. I just steer the ship and watch for the sea monsters. I think this is kind of leftover. My personal take on this is that, Greg came from Blizzard, where they flat out canceled games at the very end of production or near the end of production multiple times. I think Titan is a very evident and public case of that. So he's probably just out there setting expectations there. And Ghost, that's true. That FPS that they were working on for StarCraft Ghost. This game's gonna I don't foresee a world where this game doesn't ship. Greg might not be the one to ship this game. This game's going to ship. I feel like Riot wants to continue to dominate the another facet of gaming. Valorant, obviously big in the FPS world. League of Legends, obviously big in the MOBA world. They want a little chunk of that MMO world, and whatever this game's called seems to be just that. I would be very surprised if this doesn't ship, but hey, what do I know? What do I know? Glenn Schofield, who's the Dead Space creator, tweeted about their upcoming project Callisto Protocol, and that it is, quote, coming together and we'll have more details to be shared soon. The tweet continues that they love seeing all the hard work the team is doing in the mocap studio to bring our characters to life. Thanks to everyone waiting as we finish and polish the game. We'll have more to share soon. I'm eager to see what that is. The old Callisto Protocol. Speaking of showing games and hyping them up, Sean Murray spoke with IGN about a new project over at Hello Games. While it's not a sequel to No Man's Sky, the new game is just as ambitious, he says. In the interview, quote, for a while now, we've been working on something pretty ambitious in the background. It's a small team, but we like it that way. Similar to No Man's Sky, it's the kind of project that even if we had 1,000 people working on it, it'd still seem impossible. No Man's Sky is not being held back by the project, but neither is the new thing being slowed by No Man's Sky, he said. We're lucky enough to be able to allow folks to freely work on what excites them. Murray has previously said, quote, we've learned our lesson, quote, on talking about games too early after No Man's Sky open and very controversial pre-release. We'll see. We'll see. They put out another update that No Man's Sky, by the way. We'll be covering that on trailer time tomorrow. I think it's called like the Bandits something or other. Very big update. A lot going on in that game. They continue to pump out updates for that, so eager to see what else they're working on. The Witcher 3 Next Gen is being delayed just a little bit as CDPR has decided to move development to in-house. The full tweet reads, we have decided to have our in-house development team conduct the remaining work on the next gen version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. We are currently evaluating the scope of the work to be done and thus have to postpone Q2 release until further notice. We'll update you as soon as we can. Thank you for understanding. Cool. Great. I didn't even know they were making that. Certain Affinity, which is an independent game developer, has been contributing to the Halo series, as well as other big franchises in the gaming world for quite some time. And I believe yesterday is when this tweet went live. They said, we have been part of the Halo franchise for more than 15 years. And we're honored to say that we are deepening our relationship with 343 and have been entrusted with further evolving Halo Infinite in some new and exciting ways. Join us on our journey. Now that could mean a lot of things. Could be more story content. It could be maybe some MTX stuff. My hope is that it's a BR or some sort of new multiplayer evolution, or it's just flat PR. The most boring, I guess, solution is it's just straight up PR. But if it's some sort of BR, that'd be very exciting. Could also be NFTs. Could be anything. Who's to say? We'll just have to see what comes out of that. Bug Snacks. You remember that game? Well, it's coming to Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass on April 28th. The creative director at Young Horses, Kevin Zune, put out a tweet and a message yesterday over at news.xbox.com. Basically gives you a full rundown on what Bug Snacks is. And I think from my perspective, knowing what we know about Game Pass, that game is about to get a giant new audience. To a lot of people that have never heard of that game, definitely go check the trailer out. Heard pretty good things about it. Seems like a lot of dumb fun. And hey, if it's on Game Pass, why not, right? Why not? This next game, I will butcher the name of, and I apologize for that. Let's go with Ayuden Chronicle, which is a Suikoden spiritual successor. Is entitled Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. It was kickstarted and scheduled for release in 2023. They announced that the prequel to it is called Ayuden Chronicle Rising, and that's coming on May 10th. The announcement reads, ARPG Ayuden Chronicle Rising will be available on PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox Game Pass on May 10th. It looks like they continue on, say strengthen your bonds, which I think is the title or the tagline for that game, and hashtag 100 Heroes Strong. We'll see what comes from that. We'll see if that game's any good. Arc System Works has announced that it will be adding rollback netcode to the to be officially implemented in BlazBlue cross-tag battle on April 14th. The full announcement is that rollback netcode will, quote, rollback netcode will come to BB Tag on PlayStation 4 and Steam on April 14th. As such, the public test will cease immediately upon the next update. We would like to thank all users who participated in the public test. Hashtag BlazBlue. Cool. Great. A little bit of random news here at the end of today's JPNN. Gearbox executive Randy Pitchford, I'm going to delay this statement. Okay. Has purchased. Okay. The famous Magic Castle in Hollywood, home to the Academy of Magical Arts. The LA Times reports that the deal should close by the end of the month, though a purchase price was not disclosed. Pitchford told the Times, basically everything I know about entertainment started at the Magic Castle. I feel like I owe my career to the Magic Castle. Really weird, but hey, if you got the money, fuck it, right? If you got the money, who cares? I've never been to the Academy of Magical Arts. I don't know what happens in the Academy of Magical Arts. I'm glad that it's still alive, though. And Pitchford is really good at making magic occur in the oddest of places. So, hey, looks like it's going into a magic man's hand, which is always a good thing. Takashi Dosher is set to write the screenplay for Sony Pictures and PlayStation's productions film adaptation of the game Ghost of Tsushima. In case you missed it before, John Wick filmmaker Chad Stileski is attached to direct. Peter King is overseeing the project on behalf of the studio. I think that would make an okay movie. However, I kind of think the game might be prettier than the movie. I don't know what to expect from that. It looks like all the big Sony games are going to be made into movies, though. Whatever. I never saw Uncharted, so I can't really say if that's going to be worth it. The reviews for Uncharted, though, not that great. Never saw it, though. And then the last little bit of news here for any Xbox fans who want to listen up here so you can have some ammunition. For Twitter. Oddworld, I don't know what just happened to my voice. Oddworld creator Lauren Lanning has said that launching on PS Plus was, quote, devastating for the sales of Oddworld Soulstorm. He went on to explain that the developer was in need of financial support in order to get Oddworld Abe's Exodus remake wrapped up, and so it signed a deal with Sony to release the game into PS Plus day one. Lanning did not disclose the financial details of the arrangement, but reading between the lines, it sounds like the team was paid a flat fee. I think that comes from gamingindustry.biz, which ultimately gave it a monetary safety blanket in order to conclude production. Oddworld initially expected around 50,000 to 100,000 copies to be claimed by users on the service, but was actually downloaded close to 4 million times, according to Lanning. Because Soulstorm slipped to April, we had the highest downloaded game on PS5, and it was, I think, approaching close to 4 million units or something like that for free because they were all subscriptions. So for us, it was devastating. Of course, it's worth remembering that Oddworld Soulstorm's critical reception was weak, and there probably wasn't much positive word of mouth following the giveaway. It's also worth remembering that 4 million people probably wouldn't have paid full price for the game, as Yervin is pointing out, the editor. But, you know, they did get into it. So they jumped into it. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Maybe that's not the ammunition that you wanted on Twitter. An interesting thing, though, that it's not a part of the contract where if it goes over a certain number of downloads, the developer doesn't get more. Yeah. Interesting point. Anyways, that's going to do it for the news today on JPNN. We'll be back Friday to wrap up the week. We'll see what happens. Very interested to see what goes down with that Activision Blizzard discrimination suit now that that story's out. Probably won't have anything new by Friday, but hey, we could see. We're out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to hit the follow button. Of course, subscription would be nice. And of course, if you want to leave a comment, by all means. We'll see you Friday for more JPNN. Bye-bye.